Hi, I'm DK and welcome to my channel. For this video, I'm going to be talking more about my Shoujo Craze era, as well as some genres and even manhwa that I started to dabble in a little bit because I wanted to explore other subgenres of shoujo, and then there was also fantasy elements that I was really interested in, and you will see that as I discuss some of the manga and manhwa that I bought in my high school years. And so let's begin and again continue the nostalgia. Full Moon Sagashite. Oh my gosh. Well, another one of my favorite shoujo mangas. So as you can see, very beautiful art style. Arina Tanemura was one of my favorite shoujo mangakas when I was a high school student. I really like her art style. Still do, even to this day. It's so cute and pretty. And I've read some of her other manga too, such as Kamikaze Kaito-jan, The Gentleman's Alliance, and let's just say that she does tell some really interesting stories and all their like fantasy elements that she adds, which makes it pretty interesting. So this story still carries with me to this day, and I do go back and reread it. I really liked the characters and the character development that happened in the stories for each character, and even like her grandma had like her own story, and just the connections that the things that really connected throughout this whole storyline between all the characters was just so, yeah, it was really good. And it really does have a sad meaning behind it. So Full Moon focuses on Mitsuki, who has a malignant tumor in her throat that basically, if they don't take out her like voice box or the tumor in her throat, then she could possibly pass away. And this is also what starts the story because she has aspired to be a singer since she was young. And so what happens is that she meets two Shinagamis, or death gods. One is Takuto and the other is Miroko, which she is right here. Miroko. So these Shinagamis usually are in pairs, and they go and retrieve the souls that are going to pass away. And so Mitsuki is actually on their list, and she's one of the few humans that have actually seen a Shinigami. And so because she can see them, it begins an interesting story where Takuto is able to transform Mitsuki into a teenager, which gets rid of the tumor for some reason, and then she's able to sing at her full potential. So then this is where she starts her pop star career. And so the story then continues on as Mitsuki thinks more about her future and what she wants to do, because she does have that impending fate, how she is connected to Takuto, and all of the characters that she meets. I still enjoy to this day the meanings behind it. Again, very sad about moving on, facing the future, discovering yourself, and just trying to get over something that happened to you in the past that you regret. So yeah, this was a really good shoujo manga, and I remember being excited every time the next volume came out, and I would have the urge to go buy it right away. So this was one of those manga that I just had to buy and complete, and it is complete at 7 volumes, so I have all 7 of them. And yeah, I would recommend this for anyone who for anyone who enjoys sort of supernatural fantasy and has some romance to it, but it's really about Mitsuki growing up and discovering herself and what she wants to do, and how all these Shinigami that she meets and other characters revolve around her and begin to change her fate. And if you find that you don't want to read Full Moon, there's actually an anime out. The anime does diverge from the manga a little bit because it came out at the same time as the manga was being created, so there was no ending for this yet until after the anime. But oh my gosh, I love like the songs, and the person who sings for Mitsuki was like, I really like her voice. Her voice is really low. It's very different from that cutesy like Japanese voice that you would kind of hear a lot. So I suggest going to listen to the songs from the anime. So good. I sometimes go back to it and listen to it again because I really enjoy it. But yeah, if you don't want to read the manga, there's also the anime that you could possibly watch too. So yeah, that is Full Moon. Hana Kimi. Oh my gosh, this manga brought me so many memories. As you can see, I don't have any orders to it at all, 7, 9, 11, and 17. That's because I found these at half price books, and so I had to get them. I do want to collect them still, but I still haven't found an opportunity yet because there's so many manga out there that I still want to get. So this one is a little bit lower on my priority list. But the nostalgia that came when I looked back at Hana Kimi. So what really attracted me to this manga was that I actually saw the Taiwanese drama of Hana Kimi, and when I found out that there was actually a manga for this, it drew my attention and I had to go and read the manga. And I was lucky too because my friend actually was collecting the series, so I was able to borrow it from her and read the series. It's a really funny shoujo manga, so I would define this as like a romantic comedy with cross-dressing, because Mitsuki, who is the main protagonist, she lives in America and she goes to Japan to meet the person she's looked up to, which is a high jumper by the name of Izumi. And Izumi's right here. So the problem is that Izumi goes to an all-boys school. And what does she do? She dresses up as a boy and attends the school to meet him. Of course, she ends up being his roommate, because it's sort of like a it's also a, like, they also have a dormitory there too, so she ends up being his roommate. And so the comedy and the romance begins from there. And it is, I feel like it's a lighthearted read at the beginning because Mizuki finally meets her idol, but then she finds out that he stopped high jumping, and so her goal becomes then that she really wants to help him with high jumping again, because he had an injury that made him stop, but there were also so many various things, pressure and stuff, that made him stop, and she wanted him to rediscover why he loved high jumping. And so then it becomes more and more complex later on. And I also really liked, one of the characters that stuck out to me the most was Natsuki, who becomes a pretty good friend of Natsuki, who becomes a pretty good friend of Mizuki and Sano. And it's hilarious because he falls in love with Mizuki, but he doesn't know that Mizuki's a girl. So he questions his sexual orientation a lot in this manga. And I just thought that was kind of very sweet too, because at the end of it, he didn't really care whether she was a girl or boy. He just really liked her because of who she was. And so I would recommend this for anyone who likes a romantic comedy, lighthearted school life sort of situation. Just very chaotic. It's a very chaotic school life situation, which just makes it so much more hilarious. And they even have, like, if you've ever watched Japanese dramas, they even have a Japanese drama of Hana Kimi, and I love that drama. It is hilarious. Like, they add a lot of hilarious elements to it, but I also really like the actor and actresses who played them. So yeah, so this is Hana Kimi. Highly recommended if you like romantic comedies. Angel Diary Volume 2. So I'm thinking that I bought Volume 2 because I had read Volume 1 at my local library. And then because that interested me, I decided to read more. And even though the storyline was very interesting to me, I guess I just never decided to buy any more of this. I would like to note that a lot of the Korean manhwa that I was into in the past did go through a craze of being published, but then some of them would also stop being published, and so there would be a lot of wait periods, or they would just be discontinued, and that may be why I had stopped collecting, or I had not bought these anymore, because I probably couldn't find them at the bookstore. Angel Diary is about a heavenly princess, Dong-Yong or Chonhu, who escapes down to earth and poses as a teenage boy to avoid being in an arranged marriage with the king of hell. And she also can get possessed by spirits really easily, so there's a supernatural aspect to this storyline. I was really attracted to the fantasy side, and also the art style was very cute for me. I don't really want to say anything further because I didn't read enough of this manhwa to really speak more to the storyline, because in the first 2 volumes we're still just getting to know the characters. And honestly, I would say that I would consider trying to buy more of these volumes if I can find them, because rereading volume 2 again, I did find it interesting and funny to read. So yeah, that is Angel Diary. Alright, Chocolat. Another manhwa, so I'm just gonna go right into all the manhwa. Again, I really liked this manhwa because of the art style. I thought that the guys looked really cute, and I really liked the eyes. And for some reason I got volume 4, and maybe it's because of the guy on the cover, because I thought that he was very handsome and cute. And he had that brooding character that I really like. So basically, Chocolat is about Kumchi. She's the main character, who is a big fan of an idol by the name of Jin, and she follows him everywhere, and you know, like how a fan is. Her aunt works for a different K-pop group called Yoi, and that's where she starts to join the industry a little and learn more about the group members, and these are some of the idols in that group. And I think that another thing that really attracted me to this manga was that I was getting into K-pop at the time, so the storyline really interested me, because I was like, oh my gosh, like a fan meeting K-pop idols, getting K-pop idols to like her. What a dream. And so that's why I most likely got into this manhwa. Reading this again though, I do find that it's really no longer for me. While I still like the idol aspect, I didn't vibe with Kumchi that well when I was reading it again. But if there's anyone who's interested in this, I recommend this for anyone who's into, like, you know, like I said, a normal fan suddenly meeting and being involved with idols, and their idols becoming a love interest. But yeah, that is Chocolat. Alright, Goong, the Royal Palace. What attracted me to this manhwa was actually that I watched the Korean drama first, and when I saw that the manhwa came out for this, I was surprised because I didn't know that this was based on a manhwa until I went to the bookstore and saw that they had published this. So basically, the K-drama was based on the concept of the manhwa. And so that's why it caught my attention. And the other thing that caught my attention was also the art. Like, the characters are drawn so beautifully, but also the artist is really good at like drawing funny expressions. And so I really liked the comedic side of this manhwa, which the drama didn't really show too much of. So rereading this again, I found it hilarious, and I was just like laughing so much. And it does have a very different feel from the Korean drama, which is to be expected because, like, it's a drama, so they maybe wanted to have a different atmosphere for it. So this manhwa has the premise of Chae-kyung, who is a normal high school student from a family that's sort of normal, but they are in debt too, and the royal prince. So what happens is that a long time ago, her grandfather promised his grandfather that they would wed their children together, whoever is going to be the heir to the throne. And so these two are then put in an arranged marriage, and basically the story goes from there. And so I think that's also what attracted to me, was the arranged marriage side of things, because I was dabbling into other subgenres of shoujo, and also I really liked the mix of like a historical side of it. That's why I bought this manhwa. So I would definitely recommend this for anyone who's interested in like an arranged marriage teenage side of things with a bit of historical royalty mixed in, and then the couple is a bickering couple who then like sort of falls in love. But there are also going to be more dramatic sides that happens. I haven't read further than volume 1, so I can't judge too much how dramatic it will be, but you will see a taste of humor in there too, so that may be a break that occurs in the storyline. For me, I would maybe try reading it again, but I wouldn't be collecting it for now. And again, I think I feel apprehensive because there was a lot of drama that happened in the Korean drama, and I'm just not too much about that anymore. And I mean, if you don't want to read the manhwa, you could try out the K-drama that has the same title as the manhwa. So I would like to note that in the K-drama, the main guy is kind of a jerk and he's not very expressive compared to the prince in the manhwa. Take what you will with the Korean drama. So yeah, that's Goong. So the next manhwa I'm going to be talking about is Legend. Again, art style. The big eyes is what really attracted me to this manhwa, and I think the storyline also interested me a little bit too. So the storyline is about protagonist Eun Gyo-sung, who gets basically isekai'd back into like a past, maybe an alternate universe past or something, by the possible male lead, Noah, to help him save his sister. Apparently she's like who the possible villain wants, because she may be connected to the legend about the seven-blade sword that was split throughout the world. And when reading this manhwa again, the premise did seem interesting again to me. I'm not sure why the possible villain might need her, but it seems like she plays an important role about the sword. In my honest opinion, I didn't really like the protagonist's personality. I guess again, I just wasn't vibing with her attitude or her behavior. Maybe there will be character development, but I probably will not be collecting any more of this manhwa. So while I don't think it's for me anymore, maybe if there's anyone who's interested in a slight historical fantasy, some action may be taking place in this manhwa too, then you could read this manhwa. But yeah, this is Legend. Moon Boy. The cover is so pretty, and it glitters too, if you can see that through the camera. This was such a pretty cover, and I think that's what attracted me to this manhwa and why I bought it. The storyline was also pretty interesting too for me. So Moon Boy is about where long ago rabbits used to live on the moon until foxes arrived with the villain to devour them. Rabbits then escaped to Earth and blended in with the humans. Myung-yi, who's the female protagonist, is an Earth rabbit and discovers this when she meets her former classmate Yuda Lee, who had disappeared when they were in elementary school. And everyone forgot who he was except her. And apparently the foxes had something to do with that, but because she's a rabbit, she did not forget. When Myung-yi discovers that he is the Black Rabbit, which can give the villain immortality, she decides to help him remember who he is and save him from the foxes, because he's basically being held captive. He also forgot his own memories because the foxes wiped it from him. Personally, I have no strong feelings when I read this again. Like, I didn't have a strong desire to want to buy the next volume. So maybe if I find it used or at a cheaper price, I would collect it just to see what happens out of curiosity. And I would recommend this for anyone who's interested in fantasy, a strong-willed girl who will do anything that she can to help those in need, especially a former classmate who she actually was starting to become friends with. And that is Moon Boy. So the last manhwa I'll be talking about this video is Sarasah, and oh my goodness, the art, the covers, this really I just really like the colors and everything about this manhwa when I got it. I really liked this manhwa back then, but now that I read it again, I don't find myself liking it as much anymore. This is sort of like an isekai manhwa in a way. And I realize now that I've read a lot of isekai genres, even though I didn't realize that they were isekai back then. Maybe because they're not as prominent as they are now. But what happens is that Jihei, right here, the female protagonist, has an unrequited love with Hugh, which is, and I'm really sorry about the pronunciation. I try when it comes to pronouncing Korean names, but I have a hard time sometimes. Hugh, and pursues him relentlessly for a year, confessing to him her feelings despite being rejected all the time. She just basically pesters him a lot. And then she falls down the stairs when she tries to confess to him again and finds that she is in a limbo state. And then what happens is that she sort of meets these like gods, the god of fate. Jihei finds out that apparently something happened in her previous life that made her relationship with Song-hyo bad. So then the goddess of fate allows her to go into her body of her previous life to see if she can try and fix the issue that happened between them. And I think that's the reason why I really liked the idea of this story, because I really still do right now like unrequited stories that become requited. I just feel like some of them are just so romantic and sweet, and just the longing and stuff, the way you feel that little angst, I just really enjoy that. But for this one, again, what really made me not like the storyline anymore is that I just did not feel strongly about Jihei. If there's anyone who's interested, I would recommend this for those who like a isekai storyline where she goes back to her previous life to undo whatever she had done wrong to make her unrequited love hate her. I would like to note, Yen Press stopped publishing this manhwa at volume 5, and then it was discontinued at volume 8, I think, by the artist. And so read at your own risk, and this is Sarasah. Moving on, we're going to be talking about From Far Away, one of my favorite shoujo isekai stories. I reread this story like almost once every year. And you can see that I only have volumes 1 to 2. That is because I found these at half price books, luckily, and I had to grab them right away because it's so hard to get these volumes now at a good price. They're just very expensive now to get. I have the volumes 1 through 14 in Japanese, and such a good storyline to me. I just love the characters and the character development. So there's Noriko and Izark. What happens is that Noriko finds herself being transported to this whole new fantastical world that has monsters, dragons, you name it. And she is, and this is not a spoiler, you will definitely know who she is when you read the story. She is the Awakening, who basically can awaken the power of the Sky Dragon. And Izark is, again, not a spoiler, is the Sky Dragon. And when he first meets Noriko, the mission that he set himself was to kill her because he did not want someone to control him. And when he finds out that the Awakening is just a young teenage girl, and he's not that much older too, he's only probably 19 or 20 and she's 16. And after he decides not to kill her, they go through a journey to learn who they are as a Sky Demon and the Awakening, and even who they are as a person. And they meet people along the way, and basically it's just this whole adventure with a slow burning romance where they learn to discover themselves. And I do talk more about this manga in a Draw With Me video called My Top OG Isekai, which I will put at the top here somewhere. But yeah, one of my favorites, and I would definitely recommend this to anyone who enjoys an isekai fantasy with romance and action adventure. But that is From Far Away. Alright, the next manga I'm going to be talking about is Tsubasa, Chronicles, and it's a little bit hard to see, but I have collected some of them so far. I actually got volume 1 first when I was in high school, and I've been trying to collect them along the way now. Mostly I've been fortunate to find them through half-price books. Yeah, I was just fortunate to be able to find a lot of them as used and still in good condition. And this is created by Clamp. And you can see from my first video when I talked about Cardcaptor Sakura that here is Sakura again. And Shoujo, who is also in Cardcaptor Sakura. So what Clamp does in this storyline is utilize a lot of their other stories. And they do it pretty well too. I love this series. It's a really good storyline. Very pretty art. I really like how they ink. And so they use a lot of characters from like Cardcaptor Sakura, Chobits, XXX Holic, and other manga or other stories that they've created. So basically what happens is that Sakura and Shoujo are from a country called Cloud. And she is the princess and he is her childhood friend. And you can tell from the story that she really likes him and she wants to confess her feelings despite their differences in status, while Shoujo sort of tries to keep a distance between her because he understands that they have a difference in status. But on the day that she decides to confess to him, finds this artifact. Sakura goes to one of the archaeological dig sites, and when she goes there, she activates that artifact, and from there, she loses all of her memories. And because she's just basically an empty shell, Shoujo makes it his mission to save her and return her memories. And the way that he does that is that Yukito, who's here, is a sorcerer in their world, and so he transports them both to the XXX Holic world, where they meet right here. The space-time witch is where he meets Fai and Kurogane, who here's a samurai or swordsman, and he wants to return back to his own world because he gets sent here from Princess Tomoya, and then Fai actually never wants to return to his own world again. And so these two assist Shoujo in helping Sakura return her memories with a price, of course. The space-time witch Yuko says that with every wish that you want, there comes a price. And so the price is that when Sakura regains all her memories, she will forget the times that she spent with him. And basically, like, her feelings for him, probably. I don't want to say any further on that, but yeah. And so then they end up traveling to alternate dimensions to gather her memories, which are like in a form of a feather. And yeah, so that is how Tsubasa Chronicles starts on this journey. And I definitely really enjoyed this story. I think I really enjoy the fact that they just travel across dimensions or across worlds, and it's just so fascinating for me. And so yeah, so I would recommend this for anyone who enjoys a fantasy with slight romance, action, and adventure. And like I said again, I'm still collecting this. I still want to collect all of them. They do have the omnibus versions out too. I may have to resort to that, even though I really like these individual volumes. The problem is that, as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm missing 5, and I still am trying to search for volume 5. And then I'm also missing volume 11 here, so still gotta get those. But yeah, I'm excited to continue collecting this series, and that is Tsubasa Chronicles. So the next series I'm going to be talking about is Guru Guru Pon-Chan, and I have volumes 2 and 3. I think that I didn't get volume 1 because I had read it at the local library, and I was like, oh well, you know, might as well just buy the next one because I want to know what happens next. And rereading this again, this is such a hilarious, like, don't take it seriously sort of of manga. Reading it again, I laughed so much because it's just so funny. So this manga is about Ponta, who's right here. She is actually a dog, and if she kisses this bone that the Koizumi family, so their grandpa, had created this bone that allows her to transform into a human. So that is where the hilarity ensues. And so basically, Ponta experiences what human life is about, and the Koizumi family also gets to see her side of you as what a puppy and a dog kind of thinks. And she also falls in love with the next door neighbor, Mirai, who's right here. And this just brings on a load of like him questioning himself, like falling in love with a dog who's also a human. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are kind of questionable in this manga, but I think that if you take it lightheartedly, like very comedic aspect, that you will enjoy this manga. So that's who I would recommend this manga to. Reading it again, I really did like it, and maybe in the future I would collect it if I can find any more of these, but for now it's low on my priority list to collect this. But yeah, funny manga. So yeah, Guru Guru Pon-Chan. Kage Tora. I think I was attracted to this manga because I was in the stage where I started watching Naruto, but then like I wanted something different. I wanted more of a romantic side to it, I think. So I got Kage Tora, which is about a ninja. So Kage Tora is a ninja, and Yuki, who is part of this like large clan where the women are super strong, like physically strong, and they have always been leaders in their clan. So Kage Tora is assigned by Yuki's mom to train her to become better in like martial arts or like the physical sides of things, because she's a very clumsy and tiny girl. So she's very cute too, very different from her very different from what the family has had when it comes to like the women. And I definitely found this manga when I read it again to be very cute, funny, and I can see when I read this again that I really liked the damsel in distress scenario. Like she can always be in trouble because of her clumsiness or being too kind, but at the same time she doesn't have like a personality that you would dislike. So she's very cute and optimistic and always tries her best at what she does. And so this manga basically goes through the viewpoint of Kage Tora as he trains her and also basically falls in love with her. So I would recommend this for anyone who likes like a romantic comedy with some slight like ninja side to it. And yeah, I don't really have any strong feelings for this manga. I did find it funny and it was fun to read again, but I don't think I would collect anymore, just because it's not really the type of story that I'm into right now. So yeah, that is Kage Tora. Alright, Beastmaster and Volume 2. Volume 2 is actually the final volume, so there's only 2 volumes to this series. I think I got Volume 2 because I read Volume 1 already, either from a friend or from my local library. I really like the art for this manga, and you'll see in the next video when I talk about Dengeki Daisy that they are from the same creator, and I just really like their art and their sense of humor in this in their stories. Beastmaster is about Leo, who transfers to Yuiko's school, and he has these wild eyes and an intimidating nature that scares everyone. And Yuiko, who wants to get close to animals but is hated by them, envies Leo because of his ability to bond with them, maybe because there's this primal nature behind him that attracts animals to him. So as she gets more involved with him, she learns about why he has this wild side that he sometimes can't control, and dives deeper into his past. So reading this again, I really still enjoy Yuiko's personality because she's tough but soft-hearted at the same time, and she really looks out for Leo. While at the same time, while she sometimes does things rashly, she also begins to learn more about how her actions can have consequences and can harm those that she loves around her, especially Leo. And so, if I could, I would probably try to collect volume 1 just to complete it because there's only 2 volumes. And this couple is very cute. They're very adorable, very innocent. It's sort of a pure romance, I would say. So yeah, I would recommend this to anyone who likes the like wild type boy who's like scary, intimidating on the outside, but like actually very sweet and naive on the inside, and a female protagonist who is tough but takes care of those around her. And so this is Beastmaster. Alright, the last manga that I'm going to be talking about is Dawn of the Arcana. And what attracted me to this manga is the art again. And also the storyline was very interesting to me because this is also one of those like arranged marriage types of situations. In this case, it's that Princess Nakaba, who is here, and Prince Caesar, who's right here, are both from countries that are like right next to each other. So it's like an island with both countries. So she's from Sennan and he's from Belcoa. To maintain peace between the two countries, they're both forced to be wedded together. Another factor that gets added into this is the Ajin, who you see here is Loki, who is Nakaba's attendant, who are half beasts and half humans that are very strong by nature, but they are basically subjugated by the humans. And so bringing in all these factors, the storyline is very interesting. And reading this again, like, I didn't realize how fast paced it was, because it seems like these two begin to like each other pretty fast and trust each other. But at the same time, I kind of understood it because they've never really had anyone that loved them before. Like, Nakaba lost her family when she was really young, and Caesar's in a type of family situation that's very complicated. And also Nakaba has like this ability called the Dawn of the Arcana, the title, where she has the ability to see the past and the future. And so that also brings into play how she makes decisions and decides what she wants to do next. Reading this again, I definitely enjoyed it, and my goal is to also continue collecting the rest of this series, because I do enjoy the storyline. And so yeah, I would recommend this for anyone who likes a fantasy romance with a little bit of war on the side too. And there is a slight love triangle, but it's like more of like an unrequited one, and you'll understand that when you read it. And yeah, this is Dawn of the Arcana. Alright, so this is the end of my video, part 2 of my Shoujo Craze era. I will also continue the next video to talk more about my Shoujo Craze era, and you will begin to see as my taste still continues to change as I explore more of what I like during my time in high school. Leave in the comments below if you're still trying to collect some manga that you've read when you were younger, and how has that process been going for you. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe for more content on my manga collection.